Assalamu alaikum, Zainab. Thank you so much for joining the session.
Assalamualaikum, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for taking our time. I'm pretty much sure the main reason of having these session is to get as much knowledge from industry professional like you guys who are doing good in the industry. Before we started off with all the pointers, I would be happy if you can introduce yourself and then we'll start the session.
All right. So I'm Zainab Hassan and I graduated from BNU. And after that, I worked at Zameen.com as a visual designer. And after that, I've mostly been doing freelance projects. So majorly my clients are based in the UAE, Canada, and Europe. So that's what I'm doing currently, working as a visual designer, as a freelancer.
Oh, nice, good. So moving forward, the first thing that I have in mind is because nowadays the biggest debate is AI. Everything is AI based, and the first thing that we heard about कि यार जब AI आएगा तो सबसे पहले the jobs that is gonna be gone is designs and content creation, like content writing. I would like to know कि यार what do you think f- how AI is changing our field, like the creative field? Because right now when AI started, it's image generation. Now it's not now it's not only image generation. We are seeing a lot of things now, a lot of things towards video production, video things, AI related to like Google just launches Google View 3 and everything is changing. A lot of companies are doing that. What do you think? What is AI for today right now? Because now we have a lot of knowledge because before when AI come तो होता ये था कि जब 2000 मतलब कोरोना के बाद जब एआई नया-नया था तब लोगों को यूज़ करने का भी इतना नहीं पता था। नाउ एवरी पर्सन नो अबाउट एआई, ठीक है? व्हाट डू यू थिंक एआई इज़ डूइंग टू टुडेज़ एज एंड स्पेसिफिकली इन डिज़ाइन?
So, you've posed a great question. I do think AI has profoundly shifted every day in today's age and time, in terms of how we think, how we communicate, and how we make decisions, right? So, AI is really integrated into our lives so deeply that it's not something that we really need to push away. I do think that AI is something that we really need to embrace and sort of use that knowledge for our good because as humans, we need to what we can. We have the privilege of really not doing the trivial and tedious tasks anymore because AI is already doing that for us, right? So we can really focus on the execution bit, the conceptualization, and how we're putting the idea to actual material.
I got it. But so you're saying that it's basically AI is not AI is helping to do the all the lengthy work in the design part. It's not about taking all the creativity. For example, if you have to make multiple adapts of something, now you don't have to do it like adapting manually. You can do it with AI, and then you can focus on the real thing or the real design part. I totally agree with the point. The next thing that I have in mind is because now after all this AI and AI in this physical world of this practical world, now I see a lot of AI thing coming back to the teaching phase as well. And you done your graduation and also teach in BNU for a couple of time. So मुझे ये बताओ कि how was your overall experience when you were when you were teaching? How do you see is कि AI can be optimal for kids while teaching? What's the right way to do that?
So basically, in teaching methodology, AI is gonna. I feel like plays a huge role in how teachers in today's age and time really teach, right? Because, for example, if like there's a very complex topic, you really don't have to like delve into the complexity of the nature of the topic because AI, what it does is really simplifies the topic. Now, when I taught at BNU, like I wasn't like because that was like I think 3 years ago, couple of years ago. At that time, we weren't using AI at that much. But today, I feel like it's really going to make a difference in teaching because as educators, we can simplify concepts and teach it to kids according to their own IQ, right? So sometimes you have kids really asking the same question again and again. And teachers can really use AI to like simplify concepts and teach them to kids. And also, for example, we teach kids how not to use AI and chat gpt for their essays and for their crits, but what we really need to use them is proper use of chat gpt. For example, instead of saying you don't have to use it for an essay, they can really upload that essay and ask ChatGPT to give them like a feedback on how to make it more concise or how to make it more profound. Um,
So it's more likely, it's not more, it's more likely um, associating this AI thing with teaching is to give the right direction to the student. It's not like stopping them to do something, because at the end of the day, not today or maybe like 3 4 years afterwards, AI will be the day-to-day use. We will be seeing a lot of gadgets, we will be seeing a lot of electronics, we will see a lot of things going around. And now this AI thing is also improving a lot. I personally believe, yes, you are right. Like 3 4 years back when you were teaching, AI was in the early stages. Now AI is going very forward, and I personally believe that guiding students how to use it properly might be more helpful, because to be very honest, at the end of the day, you need to have that human touch in this AI thing, or else anyone will know that this is AI, or this the content is AI, or maybe this is something that is AI generated. Um, coming back to one of the things is because your overall experience is from design, okay? And a lot of time what I see is in Pakistan, it can be uh, it can be a different topic, but in Pakistan, what we see is we don't usually believe the design theories, because what I see, a lot of people are in the field of design, but at the same time, design is not getting like a white collar job in Pakistan. आप किसी से भी बात करो, आप किसी भी बंदे से बात करोगे, वो अगर आप उसको ये बोलोगे ना कि आई एम अ ग्राफिक डिज़ाइनर और आई एम डूइंग समथिंग इन विजुअल डिज़ाइन, यू आर लाइक ओके फाइन, डिज़ाइन ही तो करते हो, तो पाकिस्तान चौक में भी हो जाता है और लाहौर में जो मार्केट्स हैं वहाँ से भी हो जाता है, तो उसमें और आप में फ़र्क क्या है? व्हाई पीपल डोंट फोकस ऑन द डिज़ाइन थ्योरीज़, ताकि उनको पता चले, बिकॉज़ दिस इज़ व्हाट आई पर्सनली बिलीव, दैट्स द मेजर डिफरेंस वेयर यू सी अ इंटरनेशनल डिज़ाइनर इन अ डिफरेंट वे एंड अ पाकिस्तानी डिज़ाइनर इन अ डिफरेंट वे।
So basically, I do think that design, when you look at design in theory, it really is something that solves a problem. And you have to, like, as an artist and as a designer, I feel like you artists and designers see a problem and they want to pose a solution to it, and how you pose that solution is something that matters. That's where brain comes in. That's where the difference between, like, an international designer or someone who's only doing the skill, has only learned the skill. That's a difference, right? Somebody who only knows the skill and somebody who can use their brain to solve a problem, right? That's the difference, I feel, is lying, right? So when you're solving the problem, what you really need to do is how you're um, creatively and intelligently solving that problem and making it user friendly. UI UX comes into this when you're designing apps and a lot of like other steps, when whether you talk about aesthetics, whether you're talking about concept art, everything really roots back to how you're critically thinking about design and how you're putting your brain to use instead of only the skill, because skill can be learned. It's the ideas and the creativity that can't be. And that is also something that I talk about when I talk about AI, that it cannot replace humans or designers in a way, because that's something that lacks also. It lacks creativity and it lacks the brain power that has to be there to solve a certain problem.
And also what I personally believe is that nowadays people know that is that this thing is AI generated or this is the real one. And in the early stages, we see that people were very fantasized about the AI thing, and everyone wants to do everything in AI. But after a couple of years, now people are back to that same thing. Now people know that creativity is how to use AI in your own imagination and make it like a stage in a very different way, rather than just putting a prompt into chat GPT or any other AI platform and get anything out of it, because the idea do matter. AI is basically only there for helping you in certain way. For example, if you wanted to make a certain frames out of for a motion design, or maybe certain frames for a static, or maybe some imagery that you wanted in a different style, that can be helpful, but the overall concept and the overall imagination should be now, because now what I see is now clients also don't want people who doing things with AI only. They want the creative freedom, they want the human touch into it, because that's the different that's when people now realize, because शुरू-शुरू में हुआ क्या था कि हर चीज़ ओरिजिनल थी, थोड़ा बहुत एआई अच्छा लगता था। अब हम देख रहे होते हैं ऑलमोस्ट 80% ऑफ द थिंग्स आर एआई। सो जब वो आपकी ओरिजिनल कंटेंट आता है तो पीपल स्टॉप एंड सी दैट यार किसी बंदे ने बनाया है, इसका थॉट प्रोसेस हो गया, दिस इज़ हाउ इट गोज़। The next thing that I want to discuss, so you are working with international clients, mashallah, and um, in Pakistan, the definition of freelancing is very different. What I personally believe that people think freelancing is only about working on Upwork, Fiverr, and sort of those platforms. What I personally believe, working for international clients, working for different people is basically when you realize, yeah, you should have your own brand because you need to make your own brand, you need to market yourself. That's why that's the only way that you can say or that you can sell anything, because I'm pretty much sure if you're working with UAE clients or any other region clients, it's not like कि आप बस उनके पास गए हो और आपने बोला कि ठीक है, I'm a good designer, because they don't know you. You need to sell yourself. So, tell me, how was the overall journey of working as a freelancer? Because I think you are working good with Zameen, and 9 to 5 life is a very different thing. Freelancing is a very different thing, but at the same time, both the lives needs very discipline. You need to understand the dynamics, because when you're working freelance, it's not 9 to 5; it's 24/7, and you need to manage your time, you need to manage everything. So just explain how you started off, when do you started off, what are the key pointers you see that these are the problem that I face, और अगर लोग उनको अच्छे तरीके से सॉल्व कर लें और अगर अच्छे तरीके से उस पे काम करें तो उनको आसानी होगी।
So basically, you're right, 9 to 5 is very different, and freelancing is very different because in freelancing, the major difference is that you have to cold call, you have to write cold emails, you have to cold call the clients, and you have to really sell yourself, like you said, in a market which is already like highly saturated with designers and with artists. You have to really stand out, and how you can do is basically making your portfolio stand out and knowing how to sell yourself. So initially, I wouldn't lie, it is hard as a freelancer to get clients in the beginning, because what I was doing wrong was that I was only like writing cold emails to clients and saying, this is my portfolio and this is what I can do for your company and stuff. So even though I was like reaching out to a lot of clients, I wasn't really getting a response from a lot of clients. So what I started recently doing differently is that I started like studying their businesses. Like it takes time on a certain client, but it's actually more effective than really reaching out to 100 clients. So I study their business, I see what I can do and what I can do to contribute and make their business go from like a low engagement to a high engagement, and then I post my self as a problem solver. So when I make my pitch, I make sure it's personalized. So that makes a huge difference. So businesses know that I've studied their algorithm, I've studied how it's currently working and what I can do to make things differently. So that is something that recently got me a client from Canada, a real estate client, and that is something that I do feel like makes a huge difference when you're actually solving a problem for a business and posing yourself as a problem solver.
For sure, because to be very honest, what I see is a lot of time people is like just like doing cold calls and reaching out to people can be one of the ways of getting clients, but you need to understand it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. It's not about how many number of clients you have. You need to understand that whatever work you are doing for anyone, you need to understand that, okay, fine, this is something that is meaningful, this is something that I can also sell to anyone else. Because in freelancing, maybe sometime you are working in the similar genre with two other different clients. हो सकता है कि आप दो अलग क्लाइंट्स के लिए रियल एस्टेट के लिए काम कर रहे हो, और दोनों के डेमोग्राफिक्स, दोनों किस तरीके से काम करते हैं, हाउ दे ऑल लाइक थिंक, थॉट प्रोसेस क्या है, बिकॉज real estate in Canada may be different and real estate in UAE may be different. And you need to understand each market. And it's a very right and it's a very correct way of doing it, because it's not about just pitching, like just making a pitch and just sending it to like 100 of clients and not getting a single word from them. It's more likely to personalize things. That going to a part is being a girl, being a freelancer, you need to understand work life balance as well, because we need to also see that. there are a lot of other commitments that you need to make. You need to like do your personal things, and freelancing is basically like be on your toes for 24/7. Now you're a freelancer for a couple of years now. L- Tell me how you balance your life. What will be the right strategy? Because a lot of time, what I see is people people left this freelancing thing and back to their 9 to 5 is because they really don't understand how to balance their life. They think SK2 working it for 24/7 is the thing. I'm doing freelance, you are doing freelance, and there are a lot of people are doing freelancing and they are happily doing it because they crack that code. Okay, fine, this is the right way to do it. So tell me, how do you balance your work life, and your personal life, and how's the overall freelancing thing? I'm pretty much sure starting off it a bit hectic, but now we're doing it for a couple of years. What's the secret sauce for Zainab of getting it right way?
So basically, in the beginning, it was very challenging. Like I said, what you're doing is reaching out to a lot of people, pitching yourself to a lot of people. So when you get one project, you want to immediately start working, right? So while you're working on that project, you hear back from other clients also, like people who respond during that time, and you get too excited and you're like, oh, I can do this also, I can do that also because they've responded. Now I need to like cater to their needs. But what you have to understand as a freelancer, even in the beginning, is not get excitement, get the best of you, and really understand the practicality of the nature of the job, whether I can manage three, four projects simultaneously or not. Because honestly speaking, like you said, quantity does not matter. Quality really does. Like what you're producing and how much you're producing in that time really matters, because you would be able to obviously give more thought and more time if you have like two or three maximum projects at a time. If you're handling more than that, then obviously it's going to compromise on the quality. So that's something you don't want to do as a freelancer. And also as a freelancer, like you said, time management is something that's a huge challenge, because 9 to 5, what happens is you come home and you're free. Like then that's your time for you to do whatever you want to do with your time, right? But as a freelancer, 24/7, you're thinking, you're working, and you're thinking this project needs this much time, this project needs this much time. And what happens is you're putting in too many hours and you're sleep deprived, and that also like leads to bad quality at the end of the day. So take as many projects as you can while also maintaining personal life. And also I would still suggest, and what I do, what I practice myself is disciplining myself and having like certain hours that I dedicate to work, so that after those hours I take up work the next day. And that's how I manage my time. It's a little hard because like obviously clients respond and they need changes and stuff changing. Well, of course, like I would do that in during that day also. But starting something new, I would take it from scratch the next day.
So basically, you're saying it's more likely to understand like creating your own SOPs. Okay, fine. This is the right way to do it. This is the number of time, the number of hours that I'm gonna be. Because what I personally believe, people starting off their career as a freelancer, they usually don't get the idea of okay, yes, money is directly including how much work you do, but it will only come when you do every work in the right way. And you were right that it's no harm to say no to few work if you're saying that you're fully occupied, because freelancing is more likely also making yourself as a financial advisor for yourself. Okay, fine, I can buy this, I can't buy this right now, I need to work on this, because it's not like you're working 12 months at all. Because yes, the main idea is to get as much retainer based clients, so you will have a whole community out of it, and you can also hire people and then make an overall system out of it. But as a freelancer, there are sometimes some months you are earning good, some months you are earning not that good, some months you are not earning at all. So you need to understand that when you're earning good, you need to balance out in a way कि okay fine, January का spend ये है, February का spend ये, and vice versa. And that's how it goes. Moving forward, I would like to know here, you graduated from BNU, and you are doing good 9 to 5, ठीक है? what were the idea or what were the thought process you have in mind that makes you okay, fine, 9 to 5 is good enough. I have to go back and do something on your own because it requires some sort of मैं इसको कहता हूँ एक तरीके से आपको बहुत हिम्मत चाहिए होती है क्योंकि एट 9 to 5 यू नो ना कि अगर मैंने कोई चीज़ गलत भी करी तो इट्स ओनली हैपन आफ्टर 3-4 मंथ जब मेरा एवेल्युएशन होगा तब मैं कह दूंगी कि यार मेरा मैं सही नहीं थी, मेरी तबीयत ठीक नहीं थी, बट मुझे तनख्वाह पूरी मिलेगी। आई डोंट नीड टू थिंक कि मैं किस तारीख को सोचूंगा 30 तारीख को पैसे आएंगे तो उन पैसों को मैं क्या करूंगी बिकॉज आप फाइनेंशियली हर चीज़ से स्टेबल होते हो। वो इन एट व्हाट स्टेज यू थिंक यार नहीं 9 to 5 बहुत हो गया, नाउ दिस इज द राइट टाइम टू स्विच बैक टू फ्रीलांसिंग फुल टाइम।
So basically, you're right. 9 to 5 means you don't have to worry about paychecks. You're still gonna get the salary, even if you mess up a certain thing. Next day, you make up for it, and then you're still getting salary as per the agreement, right? But freelance mail, you're right. Like there's no certain a paycheck that's gonna be delivered to you. It's you work and you get it, and then sometimes like projects don't even end at the right time. So paychecks delay bhi hote hain, and that also happens. So 9 to 5 is something that I thought I wouldn't be able to do anymore because it's because I traveled a lot after getting married. So 9 to 5 was obviously something that I couldn't practically do because I was out of the country a lot of times. So freelancing is something that is really really like handy in that way. Like you can work from anywhere in the world. Like it's not something that's really gonna need your physical presence. So even though like the amount may vary from month to month, but at least you're working all the time. So that is something that I really thought was in my favor, that I could work from anywhere in the world. And a lot of freelancers will probably have the same reason, that they travel and they wanna like keep working.
Agree. Living a life like a nomad is good because you need to understand कि यार um, just need to have a proper process कि मैं किस तरीके से अपनी transactions को clear करूँगा। रेस्ट इज़ गुड टू गो एंड इट्स नॉट अबाउट लोग कहते हैं कि यार पाकिस्तान में इंटरनेट का मसला है और ये सारी चीज़ें, बट आई पर्सनली बिलीव कि if you know the right resources you can have a stable business in Pakistan because I know a lot of people are doing that, and that is what people usually do. Coming back to another thing is I wanted to know कि यार you also good on uh, like selling yourself, okay? And I see is LinkedIn is one of the very very prior platforms nowadays, and people are now coming back to this platform, and they are like introducing themselves and try to sell themselves. Personal branding बहुत अच्छे तरीके से होती है। So as for your ideation, what do you think? What should be the right step? Do you think LinkedIn is something that can help you to grow as a professional? If you're doing it, how you started off, and any tips and tricks on that?
So you're right. It's basically like more about creating a brand out of yourself. And I wouldn't like really say that LinkedIn is the platform to do it. You can do it anywhere. You can do it on YouTube. You can, and a lot of like people you've probably also seen doing on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, where they market themselves and they sell themselves in a way that people reach out to them for certain collaborations, right? So if you have enough following, if you have enough viewers, I feel like any platform can be used to market yourself properly, because that's the basically beauty of internet, and the base and being able to connect to your audience. And that's like one of the major blessings of today's time, where you don't have to really step out and do a lot of like physical labor in order to market yourself. You can do it right there at home and use all of these platforms to your own, to your benefit.
Perfect. There's one thing that I was thinking about when we were discussing about the freelancing thing. Uh, I see a lot of people are getting a lot of trouble when they're doing freelancing. And what I see is Pakistan में लोगों को people usually don't have an idea how important it is to have a good communication skill. And good communication skills, yes, it's required a pretty decent English or whatever language you are talking to with your client, but you need to understand the market as well. What I see is people in Pakistan, they think everyone is at the same time frame as in Pakistan. कि पाकिस्तान में जैसे चीज़ें हो रही हैं वैसी हो रही हैं, and I see a lot of people ranting about that clients are not getting their work done on time in Pakistan because Pakistan में टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट्स का कोई इतनी इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं समझी जाती। एंड आई सी अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल यहाँ पे आप बहुत सारे क्लाइंट्स को कम्युनिकेशन की वजह से छोड़ कम्युनिकेशन कम्युनिकेशन की वजह से क्लाइंट आपके साथ काम ही नहीं करना चाहता, ठीक है? अ, क्योंकि व्हाट आई सी इज़ फ्रीलांसिंग इज़ मोर इट्स नॉट ओनली लाइक ए मेक वन थिंग फॉर वन person and then don't talk to him for the rest of your life. You never know. You started a person pitching for a logo, and then after a while, after months, you will be like doing their social media, and after months, you will be doing their website and whatnot. So, what do you think? Because you're doing it for a couple of years, do you think like what are the right thought process? Because yes, ये तो ठीक है कि भाई फ्रीलांसिंग मुश्किल है और ये सारी चीज़ें, बट आई एम प्रीटी मच श्योर यू आल्सो फेस दोज़ थिंग्स कि कम्युनिकेशन की वजह से कभी कुछ मसला हुआ हो और उसको सही करना हो। तो व्हाट विल बी द राइट 2-3 टॉपिक्स या व्हाट विल बी द राइट 2-3 टिप्स टू पीपल हू वांटेड टू स्टार्ट कि इन-इन चीज़ों का आपको ख़्याल रखना है व्हेन यू आर स्टार्ट डूइंग फ्रीलांसिंग?
So basically, like you said, that being able to communicate properly is something that's the first step in order to get a client. Because pitch may, like if you're presenting something, and English, I feel like is only a mode of communication. It's not necessarily dependent on your English and how you're gonna talk. But unfortunately, like English is one of the languages that is mostly used by foreign people. And you have to have like proper English in order to communicate to them. Yes, it is, and also like people who understand who know English still won't be able to pitch themselves as like a great designer, because design and communication goes hand in hand. It's not like your design doesn't speak for itself and you have to put in words, right? Both things go hand in hand. So your pitch really isn't really dependent, I personally feel like, not only dependent on your communication. It has to go hand in hand with your design work, and also things that you're pitching to solve. So that is something that I feel like is
Because
important.
what I see is that I see weird pitches and they're getting clients, and I see good pitches and they're not getting clients because you can किसी को नहीं पता है ना आपके दिमाग में क्या है, आप कैसे लाइक आप किसी को सिर्फ पिच भेज के ये सोचो कि वो अज्यूम कर लेगा कि मैंने जो चीज़ बनाई है, मेरा जो कॉन्सेप्ट था वो उस तरीके से था। बिकॉज़ नो वन कैन गेट इनटू योर हेड एंड नो कि ओके फाइन उमैर इज़ थिंकिंग लाइक दैट वे और ज़ैनब इज़ थिंकिंग लाइक दैट वे। सो आई थिंक यू आर राइट कि कम्युनिकेशन इज़ इम्पोर्टेंट, बट you need to also understand कि उसका 50-50 रेशियो है। यस यू विद गुड डिज़ाइन कभी-कभार आप बुरी इंग्लिश के साथ भी चल सकते हैं, एंड विद गुड इंग्लिश कभी-कभार आप बुरे डिज़ाइन को भी अच्छे से बना के बेच सकते हैं, दैट्स गुड। द लास्ट टॉपिक दैट आई वांटेड टू डिस्कस ज़ैनब इज़ बिकॉज़ व्हेन यू आर डूइंग अ 9 टू 5 तो आपकी लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट अपने हिसाब से हो रही होती है। यू आर मीटिंग पीपल, यू आर वर्किंग फॉर ऑर्गनाइज़ेशन, समटाइम ऑर्गनाइज़ेशन आर डूइंग डिफरेंट सो कॉल्ड एक्टिविटीज़ जिसमें आपकी लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट हो रही होती है। बीइंग अ फ्रीलांसर, योर लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट always onto you. You need to understand कि design is not like what you like. Design is more likely what is trendy, what your client want, mix something out of it and pitch it to them. And for that, learning and development is an ongoing process. You need to do your Pinterest board. You need to see what are the new things going on. Because this is what I do is basically in motion design. You never know, you sleep and the next day you wake up और एआई टूल एक नया एआई टूल आया था और फिर आपका क्लाइंट बोलता है कि मुझे वो बना के दो, एंड व्हाई आर यू चार्जिंग दिस मी एंड दैट एंड फलाना फलाना बहुत सारी चीजें। सो रिसर्च एंड लर्निंग इज ऑलवेज देयर। हाउ डू यू डू दैट? लाइक डू यू समथिंग बिलीव कि यार self learning every day is important? Because it's not only about seeing a YouTube video, it's also to implementing that thing. Because what I see is a lot of people come to me and they were like यार हमें तो वो चीज़ मिली नहीं है, हमें रेफर क्योंकि जितना आप अपने आप को सिखाते हो, इट्स दिस इज व्हाट आई बिलीव इन फ्रॉम माय पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस इज लाइक हाउ मच आई टीच माई सेल्फ, अगर उसका 2%, अगर मैं अपने आप को 10 चीज़ें दिखाऊंगा तो मैं 2 चीज़ें अच्छी बनाऊंगा, अगर मैं 100 चीज़ें दिखाऊंगा तो मैं 200 चीज़ें अच्छी, मतलब इस तरीके से मल्टीप्लाई करता जाता हूँ मैं उस चीज़ों को। ठीक है, अलॉट ऑफ पीपल कम टू मी एंड दे वर लाइक यार हमें तो रेफरेंसेज ही नहीं मिलते, क्योंकि लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट हमने रोकी हुई होती है, तो हम बस क्लाइंट हमारे पास, या क्लाइंट या हम किसी से भी बात करें तो हम उसको वो चीज़ बेचना चाहते हैं जो हमें अच्छी लगती है। हम ये समझना ही नहीं चाहते कि सामने वाला बंदा किस तरीके से बात करे, एंड आई एम प्रीटी मच श्योर दिस इज व्हाट मेक्स यू डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अदर पीपल। अगर आपके पास किसी क्लाइंट को पिच करने जा रहे हो, तो आप या तो उसको वो चीज़ दिखाओ ये जो आपको पसंद है, और आपके पास इतने पॉइंट्स होने चाहिए उस चीज़ को बैलेंस करने के लिए कि आप उसको सेल कर सको। या तो आपको ये समझ में आना चाहिए कि मेरा क्लाइंट को ये चीज़ चाहिए और मैं उसको वो चीज़ दिखाऊँ। लेकिन उन दोनों चीज़ों के लिए लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट बहुत ज़रूरी है। दैट्स द लास्ट क्वेश्चन दैट आई वांट टू डिस्कस। How as a freelancer you learn? Do you invest because you invest, you're earning money, so I'm pretty much sure you'll be investing some time in your learning. फिर आप वो YouTube courses लो, paid courses लो, free courses लो. How you're doing it? Any tips and tricks on that? That's the last conversation that I wanted to.
All right, sure. So that's a great question. I do feel like learning and development freelance में when you're like you mentioned that you have to keep your personal taste और अपना bias थोड़ा सा like आपको side पे रखना होता है as a designer. You have to understand the need of the client. You have to understand what they want, and you have to be able to put yourself in their shoes and understand the problem in through their eyes. So sometimes of course like you're gonna be solving the problem through your design. उसमें आपका like of course you can't leave your creativity and thought process out completely, but you have to use that in a way that solves their problem also and keeps your design integrity intact also. So that is something that you as a designer, like it's not only in a freelancer job, you have to do that in a 9 to 5 also. So but the difference in 9 to 5 in freelancing job I would say is that 9 to 5 में you understand the business, you understand the client, और एक ही तरह की चीज is something that's required from you on a daily basis. So you get too comfortable and too confident in your ability कि हाँ this is something that I know, like after like I think 4 or 5 months you understand everything design wise and you get comfortable and you're like okay this is something that I can handle on every day basis. But freelancing mein you are dealing with different clients from all over the world and everybody has a different thought process, so you have to step out of your comfort zone and like meet those challenges and face them. And that's like you said, like you have to look up ways to like make things different from for somebody if they require something that's like really not very basic. You have to like make things more creative, and you like you said courses like play an integral role in really like polishing your skill, not only your skill but also being able to like for example idea is only an idea until you're like successfully executing that, right? So courses do play an important part in you being able to really like materialize your idea in the best way possible. So like you mentioned courses, yes I take them, like I would highly suggest anybody taking courses to polish their skills and creativity. And also I would say like hands on, like people should really step out of their comfort zone when they're doing freelancing and take challenging challenges heads on, because that's something that's like exciting about this job anyway.
For sure. Perfect. So I think we have covered very good pointers, and I'm pretty much sure a lot of people have this issues moving forward in their freelancing career, but they will get a lot of good answers from this session. So thank you so much, Zana. Thank you so much for your time. It's my pleasure to have you on the session. I'm pretty much sure we have covered a lot of good topics and people will learn from it. So thank you so much for your time.